Welcome to the end. The universe expands. Everyone is glad as the sun descends, and your self-esteem comes back from where it's been. We are all indebted to everything it brings. You know how everything is connected and reflected now. Welcome to our room. Have you seen the moon as it fills the shadows with its blue-white glare? You know how everything is rejected and collected now. The universe expands. So welcome to the end. I am no different from what you seem to be. All that we have, we should hold in high regard. You know how everything is dissected and inspected now. The universe expands. So welcome to the end. The universe expands. So welcome to the end. The universe expands. So welcome to the end. The universe expands.
Good evening. Sorry for that odd start. It's been a strange evening all around. Yeah, but I don't want to talk about it. So if I do talk about it, I'll just probably not make it through the whole thing. So let's just say I just found out. But which is odd because I had planned to play something today, and I probably will in a little bit. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mai, Todd, TMT Mixes, Emilio. Nice to see you here. Lalo, nice to see you here. So good to see all of you here. Uh, when do I not say it's been a rough week? I think it's been a rough week for everyone. And, so I'm not even going to try to quantify that remark. It's just a strange week. And we all have to deal with the things that we're dealt. But in this case, yeah. I will stay positive. Thank you, Amelia, for that. But there's a lot going on. So I didn't have anything really planned. So what I was going to do, instead of just rehearsing, because I didn't want to rehearse, I definitely did not want to rehearse. I don't think I could get through a rehearsal. But what I wanted to do was to kind of go back to the old, all the different Quarren streams and just kind of cherry pick things that stood out to me. And I'm going to play a few of those. A lot of them are going to be demos or alternate mixes of things, and some songs you probably never heard before, which is fine. But all in all, good things happening. There's some cool stuff that yeah, Mikey says Jersey pizza next week. I know. It'll be fun. And we'll talk about that soon. So it's, yeah, Todd saying a best of. I don't know if it's the best of. It could be the worst of, depending on how you look at it. But what I did was I picked, thank you, Russ. I picked songs that for some reason they stuck out in their own way. And so I think that my choices are going to be a little odd, and they may go all over the place, but nonetheless, we're here. I'm glad you're here. And now that I'm actually talking to you, I'm glad I'm here too. So all is good. Let me turn the light on a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. We might even go for some color. There we go. Although I look kind of blue in this, but yeah, so that's what I would do, that I thought I would do today. The other reason I didn't want to do any rehearsal stuff today is because obviously the New Jersey show is coming up. I'm going to be on at QXT's on the 18th. You can look it up, or somebody can be nice and pop the link down there. But yeah, I'm going to be playing QXT's and in Newark. So if you're on the East Coast and you're in the New York City area and you want to go see A-Box, that's going to be the closest I'm going to get. So it might be cool to see you there. I'm hoping the show is cool nonetheless. But yeah, was playing around with the set for this last week. Just trying to figure out what's going to happen at this show. And so that was the other reason I didn't want to do a set tonight. Because I didn't want to jinx myself. This week I have to do serious rehearsals at the rehearsal hall. So I think that that's why I didn't post anything today, that there was going to be anything going on. That's why it's unknown. It's the unknown. So it's technically not number 67, which I don't think there is a number 67, to be honest, because, yes, Jose. Yes. Yeah, unfortunately. She lost her fight with cancer. So, yeah. Apparently so. But in lieu of that, so weird, because I had picked this last week, and I jotted down a few songs that I thought I was going to play for this week. And so playing this one's kind of strange, but I think it's an important one, so I'm gonna play it, but not yet. Not yet. I don't think I can deal with it right now. Just bear with me. I'm gonna probably sound very irrational tonight, so. But it's the real me. I'm not pre-taping this. There's no editing involved. There's no magic camera switch, you know. Oh my, he looks upset. Switch. You know, none of that. So obviously, this is the reality. I'm here. But yeah, I had considered not coming on tonight, but so anyway, I'm going to play a song from the Worth album. I'll start off with that. And this particular song is the title track, and it is the demo. And I think we played this. I should have jotted it down, huh? But I think it was either the 8th or the 7th Quarren stream where this showed up. I've always liked this version. This is like this is a version that I really liked. Let me just say it that way. I really liked this version. It has a real 909 in it. It has the ESQ1, of course, and some new synths that I had bought. I think it was a Split 8 that I had at the time and some other stuff. And this was the first demo of the song. So I'm going to play that. And we can chat. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm going to play that and turn on some kind of visual. I don't know which.
There's nowhere else to go. Tonight is almost over, and the rain will fall from the sky, drowning me in tears, with laughter and the years we fall apart, we fall apart. There's no way home, there's nowhere so a little boy grows up and asks, what is it worth to us all? What is it worth to us all?
I need to figure out how to mute my mic in between. I used to have a mute button when I used to use the other console, but this one doesn't have one. So the only way I can do it is to just turn the volume down, but I keep forgetting to do that. You probably heard me shuffling all around. Lalo is asking me, Claude, do you plan to release demos on Bandcamp? There are some. Obviously, yeah, rarities, and there's Exhibition 1, which has a lot of cool demos. Some of them I'll play tonight, actually, which are remasters. The Worth demos were supposed to come out on vinyl with Worth on vinyl, but that actually never wound up happening because it was just at the start of the rumblings of the pandemic, and so everything that we were doing for that just basically got scrapped. And I don't know that we're going to go back to that right now, because that was going to be a really, really expensive record to make, because it involved 4 pieces of vinyl. It was quite an undertaking. So I don't know. And there's still some legalities tied up with that, so I doubt it. But one thing that could happen is that I may release the demos, because the demos are all mine, so I may release them as their own thing. But I don't think I've found them all yet. So, So Russ says, love the vocals and the reverb you use. Thanks. On that one, believe it or not, I think that mic was a 414, but I had just gotten it, so I didn't know much about it. So I think it was like my first setup with the 414, and it was going through just the mixing board, and I believe the reverb was a MIDI verb. Like, it wasn't anything fancy at all, except for the mic. The mic was a good one, but I don't think... There was nothing fancy about that recording. It was just me in the room. I hit play on the MPC and I just went for it. So it was like straight to that. So that's how that was done. But so since we're talking about demos, I'm going to reiterate, and hold on because I found the link all the way up here somewhere. There we go. Let's see if I can grab that. So, from the horse's mouth, as they say. So that's the link to the QXT page, and that's where you'll get the details on that show. It's coming right up. And right after that, I have to prepare for a string of Texas shows. Not all of them are in yet. There's still some finalizing to be done. But yeah, I've got Chicago, Texas, all that stuff's coming up. But the next one up is QXT's. And this song that I'm going to play next is a demo from Patterson, which honestly, to me, it sounds really good considering how it was recorded. So this particular song, obviously, I'm not going to play when I go to play Newark, because no one's going to know this song except probably me, Mike, maybe Rui if he was listening, and 1 or 2 other people. Not many people know this song, but I did play it during one of the Quarren streams, and originally it was, well, I can't say it. It'll mess me up, so I can't say it. But originally, let's just say that the words don't mean exactly what you think they mean. But anyway, this was recorded I want to say this was 86 or 87. This was a recording that was done straight to reel to reel. And what I love about the recording is the cheapness. It was a small little Yamaha mixer. Basically ESQ, Juno, and the mic was like a little cheap Shure mic that was like $20, and going straight to a reel to reel that was basically running at 7.5. Brian Lindsay asked, question, do you use Capsule Labs if you go to vinyl? No. It was a plant. It's actually on the back of the vinyl, but Pirate Press, which is they do pressings for major labels and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm listening, trying to speak and look at the chat and trying to look at the camera and failing at all of it. But yeah, so the song in question that I'm going to play is really old, but I like the way that I was able to take it off reel to reel, and quite frankly, it sounds really good. Which always brings to my mind that funniness of wanting to. Well, I'm going to have to try it one of these days. I'm telling you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a master that's done completely digitally, and I'm going to send it to a lab to be transferred to tape, and then from tape back to digital, just because I want to hear what that sounds like in a modern setting. I haven't done that in a modern setting yet, but it's something I want to try. But I don't have a really good reel-to-reel that I can use for recording. However, I do have one that's pretty good for playback. And so anyway, this is what I'm going to do. So this is a song from 1986, and it's called I'm Going Home.
I'm going home. Going home. 'Cause home
At least put a smile on my face. So yeah, I'm going home. So that has a double meaning, obviously, in that song. But I remember that when we wrote it, it did have verses. I know I have them. I have the lyrics to that song somewhere. Probably not handy, but um, the idea was that we would do something like Kiss of Love, right? When we were playing live. And as that song faded out, or as the last bits of that instrument would fade out, we would go into this song. The trouble is, the way that we were playing stuff back then, it was almost impossible to do segues. So I think we tried it once and it failed miserably. The segue. So we gave up. Nowadays, of course, it would be super easy to do, but at that time, it was very difficult because I would have to set up the next sequence on all the synths, and Mikey at the time would have to set the effect units and the tempos for the drum machine. So there was no way to do that while a song was playing and have it segue into another one. So it's funny as it is. So that was what its job was going to be. But it never panned out. And for some reason, I think we kind of forgot all about it by the time the first album rolled around. Because I think it would have been nice to kind of have that in the album at the time. I don't know, maybe. I think it would have been, but who knows? Maybe I'll have to try it one day. But yeah, so I'm going home. The only existing copy that I have. And speaking of existing copies, so I've been trying and not doing a good job of it to find a DAT machine. I tried to look at some old ones, but I'm not trustful of all the Sony ones and the Tascam ones that I've seen. They were way too overpriced. What I was hoping to find was like a good Panasonic, but I haven't found one yet because I still want to transfer some DATs, but I want to be able to listen through to them before I do the transfers because I have so many. So, So Ira says, I like how you guys played live back then when others used tape backing. Well, you know what's funny about that, Ira, is that we had no choice. My reel-to-reel was way, way too ingrained into the system for us to kind of drag it around. It would never have made it. But once I moved to California, the first 2 or 3 shows, we actually did use a reel-to-reel as our backing. And I quite liked it. So I'm not going to say I'm against using the backings rather than having some stuff play back that's automatic anyway. Because at the end of the day, if it's a drum machine just playing a pattern, or if it's a tape playing the pattern of the drum machine, it's basically the same in my book. But because that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, it was hard back then. We couldn't do any cool segues at all. Russ says, I used to have an SV 3700. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. A 3700 or a 3800. Just happens to be my favorite DAT machine. So oh, thank you. Thank you for that, Emilio. Buying NFTs, listening, watching semi-private performance by our dear friend and troubadour, Claudio Marcelo Strilio. Nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. But yeah, so once I get my hands on a DAT machine, because I don't want to send these out, there's too many. It would wind up costing a lot. Just the sheer amount of them that I have would probably be a $3,000 transfer for nothing, because I wouldn't know like how to go through it all. So I'd rather like cherry pick some DATs and take some stuff off of them that I know. And some of them I did transfer, so I have to find some of those files. So Anyway, that's why. It's because I transferred some reel-to-reel stuff to the DAT. And obviously the reel-to-reels, I don't have most of them anymore. Most of those were destroyed in a flood of all things. So, yes, I bet he does, Ron. But anyway, so I wonder if I can, hold on, I'm going to see if I can get away with something. I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I want to make sure that I don't, okay. So, in other news, so some of you have gotten your 12 inches, I hope. Sorry, it's that time I have to like promote this guy. I hope you guys got this. So it's out. And what's interesting is that last week I showed this off. Oops. Probably better in color, but the blue light doesn't help. But yeah, and so Mikey asked me if I had shown the 12-inch, and I had said no, because I waited until other people had gotten it. So now that everybody else got it, I guess I can show it. I have version X, as you can see. There's no QRs on mine. I taped them over. So I don't have access to the NFTs, only you do. So this is what my 12-inch looked like when I opened it. I quite like mine. It's like I got really super lucky, and it has a lot of black in it. Can you see? It's pretty badass. I'm happy with it. Of course, I have number nothing. Whereas at least Todd has number 37. I have number nothing. But it's okay. I don't need to have the special ones. You guys do. Guess what? So this week, or I should say, it was. I think they were supposed to arrive this week, but I think I confirmed with Mikey that the CDs will arrive at their offices. They should be there by next week. They've been sent, but I have my copy, so I can show you my copy of. Oh my gosh! Look what I have. I got the CD. Of course, I'm going to be first. I have to be. I have to check them out before, But yeah, it looks like Mikey's going to get his on a Wednesday. So there's that. And I don't know. I don't know if I should show you the inside. Well, I'll show you part of the inside, because I don't want to give it all away. I'll show a part of the inside next time when someone has gotten theirs, but there's an example of the inside and how it differs from the 12-inch. It's a little different. So there you have it. Mini and Biggie both have arrived. So they're starting to go out. So I'm happy about that, you guys. I am. Ooh. So anyway, yeah, I won't show you the other half because there's some stuff in the CD. I had to work on the artwork a little different. So it does have certain advantages, which is kind of funny that the CD has certain advantages over the vinyl, but it does. But you'll see them when you see them. I won't show. That's nice. Stay frosty, Claude. Well, kinda. I don't know. So I'm going to play another song that came off of Reel to Reel, which is this one. There's kind of a debate on this within myself because I transferred this a couple of different times. And so for me to figure out which is which has been difficult. But I don't know, you guys are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Okay, so what I'm talking about is the different recorded versions. You could go by the date on a digital file, which is fine. But I think I transferred all three of these on the same day, so the digital file bear the same date. The reel-to-reels were not dated, so I can't really tell. But I am almost certain that this particular version that I'm going to play of this song is not the first recording of it, but the second. I believe this is the second recording. And the only reason or the only clue that I have is because there's a little sample in the beginning and we didn't have the MPC then. And this doesn't sound like a sample that would have come off of the sampler that we did have. It's a little bit different. And I know that we didn't have it back then. So I'm going to say that this one is the second recording of Soul on Fire from 1989. So that's what I'm going to play. Okay. Kind of goes with the whole Dead Stars theme. It's a dead song. Oh, man. I don't like that word. Anyway, but yes, I'm going to play this song, Soul on Fire, off of Reel to Reel. And I think I'll turn the moon on for this.
Unsere Liebe ist verlieren.
Wow, that was funny because I had to sneeze. Oh boy. And I sneezed. um, so, So yeah, that was the 1989 version of Soul on Fire. And I just realized as I was listening back, because I can always tell, and you guys are probably going to say, of course you can tell. Um, I can tell when I've played something live, meaning coming off the sequencers, versus when I've already pre-sequenced it and I just hit play and the song just plays back. This was actually a jam. So I believe that this is the second recording, because it wasn't that I just hit play and was able to just sing the song. I had to actually play. So I think like all those weird cowbells and all that extra stuff, I think that was me actually just jamming on top on the drum pads or something. So anyway, but yes, my car has swag. But no, in all seriousness, I do have a CD player in my car. I have an SD input that goes through an 1/8 inch, so I can listen to stuff off my phone, my whatever. Even my 24-bit recorder plugs right in. So I love listening to music in my car. But my favorite stereo is locked up in my garage. I have a 200 CD changer in my garage. 2 3-way speakers with a nice subwoofer and a pretty amazing, I forget, I think it's a JVC, but it's a really nice receiver. So I used to love listening to albums on that stereo, but I can't do that in this apartment. So it's been kind of a drag not to have the really nice stereo going. But not to mention the speakers in my studio. But yeah, I loved having that 200 changer because I used to program like 3 hours worth of music and just let it go. But so yeah, so that was an old version of the song. And it's funny, when I listen back, I was trying to picture like what it was like. In other words, where I was, what I was doing. And for some reason, some of those demos, the ones that are pertaining to Peace when I just first moved to California, some of those are still hazy. Like they don't come back the way the others do. Some of them I get like really good impressions of the entire thing. So I don't know if it's because I'm just getting older or if it's because literally I just forgot. So anyway, anyway, you guys are making me laugh, which is good. Good. I really do need to laugh a little, but I'm holding it together pretty good, I think. I'll have time to think about other things later. But so anyway, loss of words. That's a good sign. So Byron on YouTube asks me, are there headphones that you swear by since you don't have a big stereo booming in the apartment? Honestly, that's been the biggest setback that I have in this studio. So I'm going to break those down because I think those are funny things to talk about. So I have these old Sonys that I used to like to use for voice editing and for film editing. Can't stand them in the studio though. So that's these. These are supposed no names that were supposed to be good for vocal tracking, but I'm actually finding them very uncomfortable and I don't like them at all. But they do work in keeping the voice out of the microphone if I've got the headphones loud, but I can't stand them. They actually hurt my ears, so I stopped using them. There's a pair that's hanging over there, which are Shure 440s. Can't stand them. These, with a mask hanging off of it, no less, because that's really, that's really sanitary to have your masks hanging off of your headphones. Are my favorite headphones on earth. These are the ones I love to listen to when I'm mastering things or when I want to get a really interesting mix going. I really love these. However, they don't work for vocal tracking because they're open back, so the microphone will pick them up. So I wish I can get the sound that I get out of those headphones in a closed headphone, but I haven't found one that I really like. Now, the ones I'm wearing, they're really interesting. They're Sony's, and I forget. Hold on. MDX 850s. I can barely read it because it's like tiny and I would need my glasses. But these are supposed to go down to 5 hertz. I didn't believe it. But I thought, for $40, I'll try it. So I bought these, and I have to say, I've been really loving these. And they're really revealing. Like I've been watching some podcasts, for example, and when the person like puts their hand on the table, I can literally hear the thump of their table on these headphones. It was weird. I think it was Rogan. It wasn't Rogan. It was somebody else. But it was a guy that does reviews of sound cards, and I was watching him, and I kept hearing this low thump, and I was like, "What is that? It sounds like a kick drum." And I swear to God, it was these headphones. So I went back, put on these, and I couldn't hear the thumping on his table. So that was a very, very interesting thing for me, because it really does go. I mean, obviously I can't hear 5 hertz. I don't think any of us can, but the idea, I mean, we're not supposed to be able to hear below 20 anyway, but it's that lower rumble that can make or break a mix. So I'm anxious to try these headphones for vocal tracking and things of that nature. I haven't been able to, because they have the oddest, you'll see, I have to adapt them to work on my mixer. But I did this week. I finally got like an extension. So next time I rehearse, I think I want to try using these for my vocal rehearsals, because they're really good. They sound very balanced, and I can feel low frequencies. So I kind of feel like I'm listening like with a subwoofer. So it's enjoyable for me. So I think that, but I'm one of those people that likes to listen to music pretty loud, which is not a good thing in your headphones, unfortunately, but at least for vocal tracking, I would like to be able to hear it at a decent level where I can really feel it, but I don't know. CosmoWorks Tape says, we use some old Fostex T20s and 40s in the studios. They seem all right. I actually really like the T20s. I had a pair, and when my son moved out, I didn't have a pair anymore. He took them. I actually like those a lot. They used to be one of my favorite tracking headphones. So yeah, I'm still searching for the perfect one. But again, I haven't tried these with vocal tracking just yet. So I'm going to, and I've got a feeling they're going to work out. But anyway, long-winded answer. But there you go. That's your tech talk for the evening. I'm liking these though. And this is the first time that I've done the podcast. It's not a podcast. This is the first time I've done a stream with these headphones. And I like it. I can hear everything very clearly. Some of the idiosyncrasies of the mixes are coming through. So I kind of like it. So anyway, let's play a happy song. Well, no, let's not. So this song, I believe, is in between. This song is in between Electrodelica and Universe. This was a song that I did in one take, just trying to get some of the words down, and I wound up recording it, and then whatever happened to this master tape, I have no idea. This never, Ira, you're funny. Smart kid took my headphones. Yeah, he did. But anyway, what I was going to tell you about this particular track was, this master is lost, so I can never really recreate it. And so this is like, right between Electrodelica and Universe. So it didn't quite make it to the Universe album, but it was sort of it could be a B-side for Electrodelica. And the instrumental I had for a while. And so I think this may actually be or have been recorded between Universe and Stereo TV, because it has the sounds of the diary in it too. So, and I know I played this for you guys, but it was, I don't remember, 30, Quarant Stream 40, I don't know, one of those. But anyway, this one's called February 1922. Could probably be renamed to February 2022. I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. For that, we'll turn on the tape deck, even though it's not coming off of a tape.
Took a long walk through my head to dream and try to live forever. Hand in hand I held you close to find we can make it better. I love you, you love me, it's beautiful. Can't you see? Oh no, everybody has to find their way and try to make it better. Will you help me? I'm so lonely. how and slowly you may find yourself searching forever. Let your mind accept who you may be. The universe is greater.
Oh, it made me laugh, actually, because there's this part towards the end where there's a roll, and I just wanted there to be a fill. And I remember recording it and just thinking, there's no fill, but there needs to be a fill. And the MPC was just sitting there, and I went for it. But I've always liked that fill. It just sounds really good there. It's like, if I wanted to program that in, I probably couldn't, which is interesting because lately I've been thinking that, I don't know, it's something I've been thinking about. I'm considering getting a set of sampling drum pads and using them rather than the just the machine live, because I tend to want to hit things. And I think I'm better at it when I have sticks in my hand. So who knows? I may switch and just have a something to hit, because I think it's cool when you can just do rolls on the fly. But anyway, someone asked me a question, and I don't know who it was now because it got scrolled right up. And I'm like, wow, it's nice that I'm getting so many chats, but I wasn't aware. Someone asked me if the drum kits are chosen per album or per track. For a while, it was very easy because I had basically two drum machines for a while. I had my sequential circuits tom, which I got a great amount of sounds out of, even though it was only 8 sounds. And then later I had an MC, it's funny, a TR-909. So I had a 909 for a while, and those two were my staple for quite a while. And then once I got the MPC, of course, that opened the world of I can have any sound I want, but it has a problem. And so I'm going to give you my take on that. The problem with too many sounds, which is awesome. I mean, it's great. You have endless amount of sounds that you can put on a song, or endless amount of kits you can have, so you can have a different drum sound, a different kick sound for every single song that's on a record. It's fine. It's okay for that to be the case, but there's something to be said about a cohesive kit. You know, like when you hear a band playing, you know, like that drummer has a specific sound that he gets out of his drum kit. And I've always kind of liked that too. So to give you an example, I mean, this is going to be a weird, broad example, but Radiohead's a very good example for me. I love their drummer, and he can play jazz, he can play rock, he can do electronic, he can do all these things, but it's a signature. I kind of know the 40 to 50 sounds he kind of gravitates towards. Like, I know the ones, like, they're distinct to him. And I like that. Even though when they go and do electronic stuff, I can still tell it's them, you know? So I've kind of been adopting that approach for myself, where I'll pick a specific set of sounds, and I'll stick to them for certain writing sessions. And the idea is that's my drummer. That's kind of the idea I kind of trick myself with. This is my drummer. Which, by the way, when I was listening to this song, I've been trying to find like my old diary guitars, and I don't have the keyboard that made them anymore, which was a Korg T3. And I did get the demo of the M1, so I do have the M1 demo. But I wasn't able to properly make the exact guitar sounds that I had made on my T3 with the M1, but I was able to do it with the Korg Triton plugin. So I got a feeling I'm going to wind up owning that because I want those sounds. So that's the interesting part. See, I can make the guitar sound using samples. Sure, I can do it with almost any synth I have, but I want that specific sound. And that particular sound, when you listen to the first Diary album and some of the second, you can tell it's the same person playing, because it's the same sonic palette where I took that guitar sound and I put it through a million different pedals, but it's that guitar sound. It's the guitar sound that I made that was the core. And when I use my own guitar, it's my guitar going through an amp. So it's always these two sounds being processed, and you get endless varieties of just that. So I think it's the same for drums. Now, obviously, I know that people will disagree with this because synth music means you can make it with whatever you want. But for me, I have this feeling that I want more cohesiveness. So this has kind of been my thinking for a while now. So we'll see how it plays out, because I haven't released anything yet. So nobody knows if what I'm talking about actually makes any sense yet. But it will. But if you notice distances, I tended to stick to certain sounds. And I liked its cohesiveness, which I think, for example, Universe sort of lacked that cohesiveness. So, anyway, that's my long-winded answer for that. We'll delete that too. So anyway, that's my answer. All right. Okay. So anyway, that song had all those elements in it, and as I was listening back, I was like, that one kit is really good. I don't know what happened to it. See, I lost track of that kit. But there is a plugin that I've been using a lot that I like, called Polyplex, which I kind of like it because it only has 8 slots, and I can only mess around with those 8 slots. And the built-in drum machine that's inside of Ableton, and I'm not talking about drum tracks because everybody knows that one, or drum racks, I should say. I'm talking about the really cheesy one that only has 8 sounds. I really like that one too, because basically it forces me to use what I've got. more than just searching for endless amounts of samples. So I've started to kind of get like my favorite kicks, my favorite snares, my favorite everything, and put it into this one little folder. And now it's like I've got very little in there so that I can kind of hone in on that cohesiveness, you know? But then, of course, you can destroy them and mess with them and get endless sounds by tuning them and, you know, panning them and reversing them. So there's a lot of things you can do. But I think that it's this feeling that I want people to think, I don't know how he did that. I have no idea where he got that sound from, and it's unique to that particular recording. And that's kind of like the thought process. And everyone just like laughed. But thank you. So I'm going to play two that were written throughout the pandemic. These two are funny because I think, well, both of these were written in the park and they were recorded in a park. So I'm going to play those. TMT Mixes says, sorry, I'm interrupting myself. TMT Mixes says, Claude, if you're ever in the San Francisco Bay Area, you should check out the Vintage Synthesizer Museum. It's essentially a recording studio that you can rent out with loads of synths, drum machines, etc. I certainly will. That is pretty awesome. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I don't know that I can record in a different place. I don't know. I've yet to try it, I guess. Hey, Randall, how are you? So yeah, you can keep asking me questions. I'll try to answer them, but I'm going to play this song. So this particular song is an interesting one because it was one of those days during the lockdown where I was listening to the news over and over again, like just switching between different stations. And I recorded this, and I don't remember which quarantine stream this was, but it was probably somewhere around in the 30s or 40s, one of those. Like I said, there's been so many now. But this was called The Lockdown, and it's almost like a blues song. Anyway, we'll turn on the good old tape for this.
Close the door, draw the blinds, turn the TV and the radio on. In the dark, I look around and I see nothing there, but I don't know what is wrong with me. I am going slightly crazy. I close the door, draw the blinds, turn the radio and TV off. In the dark, I make myself fall around, but I don't know how to sleep. I can only wait to dream. I am going slightly crazy.
I remembered. See, this is what I mean. Like when you listen back to a recording, particularly, I think it happens more with demos actually than it does with full-on sessions, because the sessions, when you're doing a recording session, it's at a stage where you've done the sequencing, then you had to go, arrangements, tracking, vocal recording, vocal editing. So each had a step. So you might remember different aspects of it. But when you do the demo, it's usually you in a room or you by yourself. It's usually a quick recording. So I tend to remember everything that happens during the demo phase because that's the first, quote, rendition, right? The first recording. So that one, as I was listening, I was realizing that was when I had just had my surgery and I was trying to relearn how to sing, which is hilarious. I can hear it in my voice, but I actually like it in that song. Not to sound vain or anything, but no, I like it in that song. And it was a really hard song to play too, because I'm not a guitar player, and that was a really weird bluesy thing, and I was trying to figure it out. So that's how it got recorded. I was trying to figure out how to play it, and then I got an idea for a song, and I was like, oh, I might as well just try this. And so I did it. So that was that. So I'm going to jump right into a different song, and then I'll come back and I'll explain something else, I think. Yeah. So this song was also written around the time of the first lockdown. So this would be in the earlier part of 2020. And this particular one, I've yet to set it down, but I like the sounds that I used on it. It's very industrialish. But it was, because that's how you say industrialish. But this particular track, for lack of a better word, it's a full-on demo. It was just an idea. I was in the park. And as I was playing, things were going on. And so you can hear like background noises and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm basically playing the synth and trying to do the programming and all that on the laptop by playing the keyboard on the laptop. So I didn't even have a MIDI controller present. And I believe the mic that's being used obviously is not that good. It's the mic that's built into my little MacBook. So Vega, quite possibly. Right around there. Someone asked a nice question. Oh, I'll answer that question when we come back. Joseph asked a really nice question. I've read blurbs about analog versus digital. What's the difference in layman's terms? Aren't all synths digital since they're electronic? That's actually not a bad question and not a bad analogy you made there, but we'll get to that when we come back. So for said point, the following synths are all digital, and yet they're analog with birds. No birds, no machines, no collect, move around. Meant to serve, I was meant to serve. Meant to serve, my brain will slide. Move around, make no sound, be shut up. he cut down. Menticide, menticide. Menticide, the heart will slide. The heart will slide. The heart will slide. Menticide. Hard reset. You will forget what once was. What will be. Menticide. 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 My brain will slide. My brain will slide. You can hear all the birds and everything. By the way, all the sounds that were coming in were being processed too, so it was crazy. I like all those crazy stuff, songs that I wrote in the park because they're so weird. I think there's like 40 of them now that I have from the park, which is kind of funny. So I think I played that around, I don't know, it was in the 40s, because it was right in the middle of that whole thing. Ha, that's funny. Zombified and the strawberry fields forever, huh? Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking of like some kind of rolling sound. But anyway, I'm going to answer that question. Well, in layman's terms, or as simple as I can make it, an analog synth, a real full-on analog synth, gets its sound from pure analog electronics. They're not digital. It's transistors. It could be tubes. It could be, all kinds of different methods to do it. But the sound is basically coming off of an oscillator, filters, all that stuff. They're voltage, usually voltage controlled. And so, and I was like, that's the layman explanation? What's the technical explanation? You don't want to know. But no, in reality, it just means that kind of like an old tape deck that you find that, the really old ones that are tube, or a nice amplifier that's tube. It's in that vein. That's an analog synth. That doesn't mean that you can't make digital sounding sounds with it, because that's a misnomer. People think you can't, but you can. But it's just that the electronics are a little bit unpredictable. So one of the best ways that I like to describe an analog synth is that it is quite unpredictable. Sometimes they go out of tune. Sometimes the sound isn't quite the same every single time you play it. It's a little different. It could be, even the most stable ones they're not quite stable. So it has a sound. Digital synths, on the other hand, are usually uber stable. And the waveforms and the way that you make sounds are very different. Either the oscillator is digitally producing the sound, which in some cases can sound really close to an analog synth. Or it could be what we call wavetables, which are short samples, or actual samples. So, oh, David, you said it reminded me of the band Suicide. That's another one I really like. It's been kind of getting in my head more recently too. Suicide. No, not the act, the band. Just making that clear. But so yeah, a digital synth usually involves, digital means. And the best way to describe a digital synth nowadays would be plugins or a computer, because obviously now we're talking digital from the ground up. Does that mean they can't make analog type sounds? No, it does not mean that. You can make very analog like sounds. For me, it's not really that I have a preference. It's just that for me, digital synths work better with me. It's one of those things where I have some people say, actually, you're quite simple-minded, but I have a very complex mind when it comes to the sound stuff. And that's not like I'm trying to brag. It has nothing to do with that. It's more of the way my brain works. I have to process the information very quickly. And analog synths tend to frustrate me in that it takes way too long for me to get from point A to point B. Whereas on a digital synth, it's faster. And you'd have to watch me work to understand what I'm talking about. But it's usually like, I need this. I've got to plug it into this. And I'm going to do from there. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there and I'm going to go there. And I'm on a journey. And by the time it's done, I have something made. And then I have to write a song with it, because that's really important. And what I've found is that when I'm on an analog synth, I noodle for hours. But when it comes to making a sound and having it for a song, it's now like, well, I have the one sound and I kind of got an idea of where I want to go, but now I'd have to undo everything I just did to come up with whatever track 2 is for this, or what sound number 2 is for this. And that process doesn't work for me. It would if I had maybe a room full of synths, but then it's funny because I look at these pictures of people who have these studios and I don't envy them. I'm going to tell you right now, right off the bat, I don't envy these studios where I see like 20 analog synths here and 20 drum machines there. It's like, I think I would be like a kid in a candy store and I would probably enjoy the hell out of myself playing them. But I'm not sure I could get any work done. Because I feel that I would spend too much time on each thing and not get to the meat of what I'm trying to do, which is a song. So my process is writing first with sound in mind, or sound in mind with song in mind. And for that, the digital setup just works better for me. And always has, which is why I have the ESQ to this day. So I like to, now obviously some people, I just saw it there. People sample their analog gear. That's fine. It works. Again, I tried that approach. Didn't work. Case in point, I bought one of these, which is the Volca modular. I wrote one song with it, which I really liked. Never was able to finish it because I had to go back and sample like every little move that I had made. And I still never got to finish that song, which is kind of sucky because I liked the song, but it was because I started here and I kind of locked myself into a corner and I couldn't move. So now what I do appreciate about analog gear is something that Russ on Facebook just mentioned. A stripped down kit does really work. So one of the things I have done not to get into tech talk again, but one of the things I have done is pare down. So I got rid of a lot of plugins, a lot. Effects, I don't mind if I have a lot of them. I don't care, because that's something that's like utilities, whatever delay I like or whatever reverb, that's fine. I don't mind having 50 of those. But when it comes to whatever my sound machines are, I've decided to pare those down. So the quick rundown is, did I keep the ESQ? Absolutely. The ESQ is always going to be part of my work. So it stayed. My, I'll show you. My MS-20, it's going to stay around because I know it inside and out. So therefore, whatever I need, I have it here. And that's it. And then all the plugins that I use, I tend to only use like 4 now, is Reactor, which is almost like having any synth I ever wanted anyway. That has become my, quote, modular rig. And that's the one that I like the most because I tend to use that everywhere I go. I use it on my laptop. I use it on my desktop. I use it, in headphones, on speakers. I mean, that's the one that I tend to use the most. And anything that I don't have, I built in Reactor. So it's become, I'm a Reactor freak. So I'm probably going to stay with that for a long time. And so paring down to me is really important. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Well, let's play a happy song. So here's a demo. You'll know this song. This is from 1989. This demo, you'll know the song. I'm not going to say anything. funny. So that one I remember. We were in John's studio and it was recorded onto 2-inch tape. It was a 24-track machine, but we did it 2 tracks at a time so that we can do like a stereo mix of each song. And it was just a quick way to do a demo. So that, so I think all the demos were on one 24-track reel, and then we down mixed to that after that. But essentially live. So that was When We Lie, the 1989. Which is a little different, that mix, isn't it? Anywho, moving along. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Like I said, it's been a hard day. I've got to do some thinking and some praying and other things I've got to do, of course. But I think it's apropos that these next 2 that I'm going to play are important. They're both first recordings, by the way. So I'm going to just play them, and they mean something to me, obviously. But anyway, I'm just going to play one of them right now. So this is the very first ever recording of Just One Day. And it was also transferred out of a reel-to-reel, and I believe it was done semi-live straight to the reel-to-reel when it was recorded. So it's a little different than the one you're used to, but I'm going to play it. And we'll use the tape deck as the graphic. So this is a funny thing that always, any people ask me about this song a lot, and they tend to say like, what arpeggiator is that? Or how did you arpeggiate that? And it's not an arpeggiator at all. I put the MPC into record, and it was like around 24 beats per minute. So it was literally like really slow. And all I did was I recorded a series of 4-bar things. So it was like dun, 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 that kind of stuff. But I would just vary the notes up, not thinking about how it's going to sound when it gets speed up. It was just random notes. And whenever I got one that just was like kind of like the off note or it didn't sound good, I would just delete that note. But so yeah, I would just kept doing that, and then sped it up, played it back so that it would speed up. And it worked. It actually worked really well. But it was sucky because anytime I've had to redo that song, I've had to like literally listen to that last bit. Thank God that there's a version that exists like that, to kind of listen to all the notes that are happening, because it's not the typical thing you would find in an arpeggiator. It doesn't just go up, down. It's very random. It's like up, down, down, up, down. So it's a funny thing, but it actually set something in motion, because later on I learned how to do things like that using velocity and velocity switching to do the notes. So I've never been a real big arpeggiator fan, because it's just something I've just never really been into. So every time I do an arpeggiator, it usually is done in some weird way with a change of pace, change of tempo, done really slowly and then sped up, or using random notes. Like I'll put randomizers on, and I'll just play a succession of notes, and it will kind of generate something. Can I demonstrate that? Maybe I can demonstrate it, but I don't know. Maybe on the next one. So this is also a first recording. Thank you for that, Byron. Thank you. So this is actually a really simple song. And for those that don't know the story, I guess I'll tell it for the gazillionth time on that I've ever told this story. But the actual song, or the structure of the song, came to me while I was driving. I could hear the entire production in my head. Like I knew exactly what it was going to sound like. So I basically pulled off on the side of the road, wrote out my lyrics as I was hearing them in my head, going along with this kind of melody, and wrote little notes to myself like, it's a bass line. There's a string part. There's it's a simple 808 beat, like trying to get my notes down so that I would remember all the stuff that I had to do when I got home. Drove home, turned on the recorder, recorded this song. And you will see that the recorded version, the final version, is actually not that different than the demo. So it's pretty amazing to me that this song survived demo stage to final stage and really hasn't changed all that much in the years that I've played it. As for subject matter, it isn't really about one person. It's actually about two different people, which I put together, but one of them is indeed Carmen. And yes, on the 7th, Carmen passed away. And I only found out about it this afternoon. So it did hit me really hard, because I had already planned on playing this song. So here it is, this is the first ever recording of Carmen from 1989. And I will turn on the... There you go. That way you can't see what I'm doing. Well, you guys, with that one, I'm going to say goodnight. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you for being here with me. Um, Again, as you know, I didn't plan to do anything tonight, but I'm glad I did. You guys made me feel better. You made me smile, which was good. And, well, I mean, be good to each other and hug those that you're close to. And if you haven't spoken to some of them in a long time, give them a call. All right? So I am going to say good night, and I will see you next time. I can't say that I'm going to see you next week because I'm going to prep for Jersey. So it's probably going to be 2 weeks from now that you see me again. But good night, y'all. I'm going to say good night. Good night.
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?